What's up, guys? Welcome to another patch overview for December 10th. Gonna just jump right into it here. The Knight is the free hero this week. Pretty standard stuff there. Improvements to clan. Clan castle levels are now being displayed after the player's name, so instead of just seeing the player level, you now see the castle level as well. Clan battle logs now display comments, so anyone in your clan can see the comments that the attacker left on a castle, I believe. The statistic cannon now has a deactivated state. Walls will now disappear sooner while attacking castles. This should improve attack visibility. This is actually kind of like a mechanic that people use to hide what was coming up in the next room. It stopped being used for the most part a little bit recently because a lot of people knew where to look and stuff like that, and a lot of people rotated better. But this is going to take a lot of that stuff out where the people that are still using it. I mean, it still does get used once in a while, and I haven't actually messed around with this enough to see if it will completely take it away, or if there's still at least some spots that you can hide creatures. But for the most part, I think it's probably just gonna kill most of that, which is unfortunate. I always hate things being taken away from defenders and not giving anything really back. And this is another one as well. Dying with the finger pressed on the potion key didn't lead to a very positive feeling. We even saw some keyboard mistreatments resulting from such a situation. So we're introducing the bleeding feature. When taking damage, the amount of hit points impacted is instantly highlighted in white in the hit point gauge, but the actual hit point is removed over time. Very quickly though. This bleeding time is represented by a white area draining, so if you take large amounts of damage simultaneously that impacts all your remaining hit points, you'll have the bleeding time to hit the potion key. I'm not really a big fan of this. I mean, I do realize the reason for it. If the bleeding time is quick enough, I guess it's okay. But if it makes it so that you can always use your potions, I don't know. That's just another way that they've taken away for defenders to get a kill. Basically, you have to have a sustained damage castle now. You can't use death traps because this kills them even more, right? You could take all their hit points away, but they're still able to use their potion probably if they have enough time to use it. I think they even made it so that when you're stunned or knocked down, you can use a potion. I don't think it always used to be that way, but I think they did make it so that it was that way now. So it's just another way that you basically have to build a castle the way that they want you to build one, and that's always pretty unfortunate. Another thing that I'm not so happy about is the Steam Market. I don't even know where to begin on this one, but you can sell your items on the Steam Community Market straight from the game. Simply control-click items in the hero or castle inventories. So, back when I started playing this game, in August 2 years ago, so not last August, but the August before that, is when I started playing this game. And way back then, we were asking for things like in-game trading and an auction house for gold or life force. We never got any of that. Instead, once the game comes to Steam, and now we can now buy and sell them on the Steam Community Market, which is basically, it's pretty pay to win. You know, I mean, the things that you can buy in here, it's not absolutely everything. When I first saw this, I was like, well, they completely made the game pay to win. And they have left quite a few things out to make it at least somewhat viable of like a thing that they could do. The only things that you can sell on here are cosmetic items in terms of items for your character, and then creatures that are most wanted. So Devlins to, you know, all those creatures, Rancid Runners, all those things. So wanted creatures and traps and cosmetic items. That's the only thing that you can sell on here, and I think chickens as well, which, I mean, nobody's going to buy chickens. So you can't buy like named items. You can't buy you know, just random epic items. You can't buy random creatures that, you know, you don't have the materials for, but you can buy most wanted creatures that maybe a new player didn't have time to get, or started after they had already become unavailable. So I mean, I kind of understand this. It is a way for them to monetize the game, because I'm sure that when Steam takes off the cut that they do, I'm sure Mighty Quest gets a piece of it. I hate more than the fact that it's a little bit pay to win. I hate more than that the fact that they didn't give us a trading option in game, or an auction house in-game that we were asking for way back when, like a long time ago. For a long time, this has been the case, and people were asking for it when materials were released. We should be able to trade them back and forth. We should be able to buy and sell them on for like gold or life force, which would give life force that's not really useful right now. Gold, at least you can upgrade your items with it, but life force you can't really use it. There's nothing really that you can do with it. So that's kind of how I feel about that. I don't really like it. More so because they didn't give us the option in game when we were asking for it way back when. Baron Snarlybone now has a description. Lord Marleybone and Baron Snarlybone improvements. I actually didn't read this before when I was glancing through these patch notes. Silence Bubble skill. The cooldown is reduced. That's a good thing. I mean, I was talking about how the cooldown in between skills needed to be reduced. So that might be a decent thing. Hopefully it makes everything just a little bit quicker because this is quicker. Skull Missilehead skill, the damage is raised by 30%. I'm not sure if that's enough in terms of that skill. I guess we'll have to see how much damage it actually does. Ticket issues with spawns are now resolved. I don't know how they managed to do that. I'm wondering if they made it so that just the cost is reduced, and so that is the way that they fixed it. I have no idea. But maybe they made it so that there is no tickets on those spawned units, which would actually be pretty good. That was one thing that was definitely needed, so it's possible that this is worthwhile and worth using at this point. But I still think it probably will be undervalued compared to the Spider and maybe Flameo. The Flameo isn't nearly as good as he used to be. He's actually probably pretty bad now. I haven't played enough to know how bad he is, but they did reduce his Flame Breath, which was really his only good ability. So probably the Spider is the way to go. Last week's rare boss, Baron Snarlybone, has been removed and replaced with a new trap, the Snow Ballistic Cannon. I'll go ahead and look at that in a little bit. Material-O-Matic. They basically nerfed the Material-O-Matic into the ground, in my opinion, but let's read through what they actually did to it. There's an updated Material-O-Matic in town. The new behavior is now, upon purchase, it will give you 10 common materials. The tooltip will still show you the content of the Material-O-Matic, but clicking on it will no longer automatically collect the contents. Clicking on the Material-O-Matic will now give you two choices: collect the materials or upgrade the materials. The mines no longer automatically upgrade the materials. This is the biggest thing for me, because for someone who doesn't want to log in every single day to upgrade, it makes it so this thing isn't even working for you anymore, which is kind of annoying. If you don't upgrade them once the 24-hour timer runs out, the materials will stay in their current state. That just seems like really bad to me. I don't know exactly how this is going to work gameplay wise. Like, can you not upgrade them after this timer runs out? You actually just have to collect them no matter what? That seems like it's a really terrible idea, and it's just going to make people, like, they're trying to make people log into the game, but it's just not going to work. Like, if you don't want to log in, or if you don't have time to log in, you're not going to. I mean, that's just how it's going to be. Upgrading the materials will do two things. Protect the current materials being attacked will simply reset the timer instead of going back one level. Increase the amount of rare materials by 2, removing 2 common. This is the biggest thing as well, is like before, you could let this thing run, and when I would click on it, I would get all legendaries and epics after like a week of not collecting it. Now you can upgrade them, but you're only going to be removing 2 common materials into rare materials. I don't even know how long it takes. It says if you don't upgrade them 24 hours. I think it's like every 8 hours. So you have to log in every 8 hours to replace 2 common materials with 2 rare materials. And then I'm guessing once they're all rare, you can replace 2 rare materials with 2 legendary, and then all the way through that, and then 2 legendary with 2 epics. It's going to take forever. It's probably roughly the same amount of time if you log in every 8 hours, but no one's going to be able to do that. It will no longer increase automatically the quality of materials. The odds of getting different quality is the same when purchasing a material pack. So maybe you can go straight from 2 common to 2 like legendaries in one go if you get lucky. I think that's what this is saying. Not sure. Resolved an issue with network error. This is basically bug fixes. I'm not sure if this was the one. I should really read through these before I actually do the video, because a lot of these are just pointless. But there was one bug fix that I noticed when I got on today. So let's go ahead and jump in game, and I'll show you that bug fix, and then I'm going to go through and test out this new trap right here. The bug fix that I noticed, that's probably actually really loud because I have changed a few things recently, and that sounds really loud to me. I don't know how it sounds to everybody else. Let's just lower this slightly. This might not even be enough at that point. Let me lower it a little bit more. I want to make sure people can hear me, and then I'll listen to the video. I actually hadn't had my game connected to Steam before they implemented this marketplace thing, but I wanted to see what it was all about, so I connected my game to Steam. So running it through Steam reset all of my options that I've had for, I don't know, like 2 years. But anyway, what I noticed is that they changed the... I first noticed it because they changed the look of the spike trap, and then I finally noticed they finally fixed the panels. I don't know if this was last week's update or this week's update, but they finally fixed the panels so that they go in order instead of just randomly having one that doesn't always deactivate the panel itself. So that works, and so does the caustic carpet, which is nice because that's been in there since defense crafting or since open creation. I think open creation is when that bug actually came into effect. So that thing's been in there for forever. I can't imagine it was a difficult fix, but they finally got around to doing it. The problem with them kind of tidying up all of these little mechanics that they've been leaving into the game, it makes me feel like they're going to try to launch this thing pretty soon, and I really don't think it's ready for that. You know, the only hope for this game is when the game launches, there might be a new flood of people, and if Mighty Quest can't keep those people, it's just not ready. Like it just won't work. The game will die. It's already in like on life support basically right now, and they haven't really been making remarkable decisions in my opinion. I have not been playing or doing many videos. Obviously, a lot of people have noticed that, and I've been waiting for a new trapper creature to come in and hopefully give me some ideas of what I can do. That would be different, because this zone after zone after zone thing with either some sort of like high burst or high sustained damage with duplicators or something like that. That's really like the only thing that I have going for me right now. And yeah, I could do it, and I could throw in something completely different. Just throw in like insert random creatures in each one of these rooms, but it's not really going to be anything different. So it's kind of unmotivating to try to even do that. And there hasn't really been anything new that came into the game that makes me want to rebuild a defense. I suppose I could start doing viewer castles again. I haven't done them in forever. I've just kind of been letting Mighty Quest sit on the sidelines, hoping that the game will improve. But I might do something like that. I am going to be recording a bunch Thursday, Friday. I just don't know what game I'm going to be recording. Whether it's going to be more of this War of Mine, it's going to be extra Evolve videos. I obviously will be doing one Evolve video and a few of this War of Mine just to keep the playthroughs going. But I could easily release 2 videos in a day and do Mighty Quest and this War of Mine, because I know that a lot of people don't want to watch that. People get bored with those extended playthroughs of single-player games. There's not really anything different. It's just basically a game, and if you're not interested in the game, you're just not going to watch. Evolve, I'm going to just keep doing 1 or 2 videos a week. I might actually do more, because there's more and more hints floating around about a January beta that might be available for PC. And if that's the case, then I'll get more footage. So as long as it's not like a invite only, as long as like pre-orders get in, or if it's open. Yeah, if I hear more about that, though, I'll definitely let people know on the Evolve videos. If I have, like, a lot of people might not be following the game, so I know some people might want to test it out. Anyway, let's jump into the castle and see what this new trap's all about. So yeah, short answer is I have no idea what I'm going to be recording for the next 2 days, but might be some Mighty Quest. We might get a few more videos. I know people probably want to see them, so I might do a few. So here's the trap. It's very similar to the sadistic cannon, or whatever it's called. If you remember the sadistic cannon, which I probably should place one down next to it just to compare the two, it does about 800 damage when it hits. This one does about 200. Okay, that was 138. It leaves an AoE behind, which does 50 per tick, and then while you're standing directly on that, it will lower your defense. But only while you're standing on it. As soon as you walk off, the debuff goes away. So I think, needless to say, I'm not a big fan of this trap. I don't think it really does enough. The initial damage isn't high enough, and I still think that this game is really loud. Maybe it's just my headset's really high up. It is pretty high, actually. But yeah, the initial damage isn't enough. The AoE like damage afterwards isn't really enough, and then the debuff doesn't stay with you like an acid trap would. I actually want to test out a few traps that are similar to this just to see how it stacks up, because it's 3 points and maybe I'm thinking that it's worse than it is, but I want to throw in one of these. Keep in mind that the footprint is enormous, right? So you could have an acid cannon rather, right here. Let me just get rid of something so that I can power it. Alright. So you could have an acid cannon that I think does more damage. When it might not do more damage on impact, but it fires quicker, and the damage reduction, the armor reduction rather, this one doesn't actually show its stats either. Just keep that in mind. I don't know how much damage it says it does, even though a lot of it is different. Like this one has 2,813 magic damage, ends up actually hitting you for about 800 after the resistances are factored in. This one has 390 per second. The armor reduction, which is the better part of this, stays with you. So let's just test these out real quick, and then we'll end the video out. I just want to see, because I'm pretty sure this trap's terrible, but I want to just double check. So let's get them offset a little bit. Let this one hit me first. See how much this hits me for? 550-ish. Yeah, so I'm healing up here. 550, around 500 to 600 probably on the sadistic cannon, so I was a little off on that. This one hits for anywhere from 100 to 200, and I think this one hits for 100 to 200 as well. Let me just double check on this. So it hits for 150, and then every tick afterwards, which ticks slower than this one. So probably the AoE is better on this one because it's a larger AoE, and it's probably about the same amount of damage when you factor in the speed of the two. This one hits for the same impact damage though, and it attacks faster, so it's going to hit more often with that impact damage. And then also the AoE debuff stays on you even after you leave this. So you see this AoE is going to stay on me, whereas the ice one is completely different. The ice one, as soon as you leave, like you'll see that it's a full bar, but as soon as I leave this, it goes away. So that's the problem mainly with this. There's two things that are a problem with this. Well, actually, there's probably three. The footprint, I still don't like the footprint of either of these. You can't really fit them into rooms that you're actually going to be using them in. The second is that the debuff goes away, and the third is that the impact damage is slightly too low for how slow that it shoots. I actually don't mind the damage on the AoE, the debuff, when you're standing in it. I don't mind that damage. I think it's okay. But the impact damage needs to be just slightly below this, which is probably around 350 to 400 would probably be decent. And I still think that this one's a little bit on the weak side anyway. Because of the footprint size, I think it needs to do a little bit more, and the slow attack speed as well. So that's my thoughts on this, the two traps. I don't think it's anything game-changing. For the most part, the game remains the same. Like, there's some balance changes on the boss, but I don't think it's enough for me to rebuild a boss room just around the Snarly Bone or whatever. Whatever his name is. Duplicators still seem to work. That's what my defense is based on, even though there's nothing in here. There's two duplicators in this room. This room is basically the same, and this room is basically the same. I built this castle like a couple weeks ago. It doesn't win nearly as much as it used to, but that's because people have just gotten used to it. I don't know. I could do something different, but I might. You know, I might do a castle rebuilding episode. I haven't done one in forever. I might do one. I just have to come up with something at least somewhat unique, and I don't know if I can do that. I could try to build like a compacted castle, but that's not even really that effective anymore because the potion cooldowns aren't a thing, and the bleeding effect. So it would actually be better for you to take all of your damage and then bleed it out so you can use the potion. Because if you put everything compacted together, you could, like, let's say that this entire thing is just full of defense points, right? So there's no space in between these. So you take all this damage here, there's still traps going here, you can wait for your bleed damage to actually go through. Like, you'll have like 1 or 2 seconds that you can have free invulnerability, and then you can use your potion, and then everything takes damage, and then you can use your potion like somewhere in here. I don't know, it seems bad, so I'm not sure what to do. Maybe if some people have really good castles that are like ingenious, you guys can email me at frenzycastruns@hotmail.com. Maybe I'll take a look at that email, see if there's anything special, and do like a special viewer castle episode. Because the list is so far behind that I'll probably have to take new new people at this point, since I don't know how many people will even be playing the game still, since it's been like a month since I've done Viewer Castle episodes. But that's going to be the end of this video. I do think I'm going to do at least one Mighty Quest video, one or two. I'm going to record them either Thursday or Friday. So, don't know if it's going to be defense, don't know if it's just going to be a random Viewer Castle or attack video or something. But I'm feeling like I should do something. Even though the game hasn't changed enough for me to really justify it. But we'll still be doing this War of Mine. I still have a bunch of those recorded beforehand. I think I'll probably put out 2 videos today. Just start getting those rolling because I'm kind of behind on actually putting them out rather than recording them. And then obviously Evolve on Monday, probably another video sometime as well for Evolve. But that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.